There's a version of you that you haven't met yet. The one who doesn't chase attention. The one who stays calm when everyone else is panicking. The one who doesn't crumble under pressure because he was built from pressure. You see, most people don't truly live. They just react. They're slaves to their emotions, slaves to endless distractions, slaves to the opinions of others. But there is another way. It's the Stoic way. Now, this isn't about becoming emotionless or turning into a robot. It's about becoming unshakable. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And that's where our journey begins today. We're going to explore 12 rules, 12 ways to take back control of your life, 12 principles that will help you turn pain into power and chaos into calm. Are you ready? Let's begin. Rule 1. Control what you can. Ignore the rest. The Stoics built their entire philosophy around this single, unbreakable truth, the dichotomy of control. The great Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, which we now know as Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Just think about it for a second. How much of your energy, your time, your mental peace do you waste on things you cannot control? Things like who likes you, what people say about you, what's trending online, or what someone else earns. Stoicism teaches us the complete opposite. Focus your attention exclusively on your own response. When something bad happens, the common reaction is to ask, "Why me?" But the Stoic asks, "What now?" That's the fundamental shift in perspective. That's how a Stoic lives. If it rains on a day he planned a picnic, he doesn't curse the sky. He adapts and finds something else to do. If someone betrays him, he doesn't drown in bitterness and hate. He learns a valuable lesson about the nature of people and protects himself better in the future. This mindset gives you a kind of power that raw emotion can never shake. You stop being reactive, and you start being strategic. You stop being a puppet of circumstance, and you become the architect of your own inner world. When you truly master this first rule, peace stops being something you have to chase. It becomes something you carry with you everywhere you go. Now let's move to Rule 2, practice misfortune. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It sounds a bit grim, but it's actually one of the most powerful tools for building resilience. Seneca, another giant of Stoicism, advised that we should regularly set aside a few days to practice poverty. To eat the simplest food, wear our plainest clothes, and ask ourselves, is this the condition I so feared? The point isn't to punish yourself. It's to vaccinate yourself against the fear of loss. We spend so much of our lives terrified of losing our comfort, our status, our possessions. By voluntarily experiencing a little discomfort, you rob those fears of their power. You realize you can handle it. You're stronger than you think. Try it. Sleep on the floor for a night instead of your comfortable bed. Go a day without your phone. Fast for half a day. You'll discover that not only can you survive, but you might even find a sense of freedom in it. You prove to yourself that your happiness isn't tied to external things. When you practice misfortune, you're not waiting for a crisis to hit. You're training for it. So when life does throw you a real curveball, you won't break. You'll bend, and then you'll stand right back up, ready for what's next. Rule 3. Remember your mortality. Memento Mori. Remember you will die. This isn't meant to be morbid or depressing. For the Stoics, it was the ultimate motivator. The constant awareness of death doesn't make life meaningless. It makes it incredibly meaningful. It's a call to action. It puts everything into perspective. That petty argument you had this morning, the fear of asking for that promotion, the hesitation to tell someone you love them, in the face of your limited time on this earth, how important are these things really? Steve Jobs, in his famous Stanford commencement speech, said that remembering he would be dead soon was the most important tool he ever encountered to help him make the big choices in life. When you remember that your time is finite, you stop wasting it. You stop procrastinating on your dreams. You focus on what truly matters, your character, your relationships, your contribution to the world. It strips away the non-essential and leaves you with a profound sense of clarity and purpose. Don't put off living until some future date. The only time you have is now. Use it wisely. Live fully. Memento Mori. Rule 4. Choose your company wisely. Epictetus warned, above all, keep a close watch on this, that you are never so tied to your former acquaintances and friends that you are pulled down to their level. This isn't about being arrogant or looking down on people. It's about recognizing that you are the average of the people you spend the most time with. Their habits, their mindsets, their energy, it all rubs off on you whether you like it or not. If you surround yourself with people who are negative, who complain constantly, who are lazy and uninspired, their gravity will inevitably pull you down. But if you surround yourself with people who are disciplined, who are ambitious, who are kind and supportive, you will naturally be lifted up. You'll be challenged to be better. Their standards will become your standards. This means you might have to make some tough choices. You might need to lovingly create distance from people who are draining your energy and holding you back from becoming that version of yourself you want to be. Your social circle should be a source of strength, not a source of stress. So, take a hard look at who you're giving your time to. Are they helping you grow, or are they stunting your growth? Choose your tribe carefully, because they are shaping your destiny. Rule 5. Turn the obstacle upside down. This is perhaps the most famous Stoic principle, beautifully summarized by Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is the art of turning problems into opportunities. For a Stoic, there's no such thing as a dead end. Every obstacle, every failure, every setback contains a hidden gift, a lesson to be learned, a chance to practice a virtue, a new path to be discovered. When you get fired, it's not the end. It's an opportunity to find a career that truly aligns with your passions. When a relationship ends, it's not just pain. It's a chance to learn about yourself and what you truly need in a partner. When you face criticism, it's not an attack. It's free feedback on how you can improve. This mindset is like a form of mental alchemy. It takes the lead of a negative situation and transforms it into the gold of wisdom and growth. It's about not being stopped by the thing in front of you, but instead using that very thing as fuel. So the next time you hit a wall, don't just stare at it. Ask yourself, how can I use this? How can this obstacle actually help me move forward? What stands in the way becomes the way. Rule 6. Amor fati. Love your fate. This goes a step beyond just accepting what happens. It means to love it, to embrace everything that life throws at you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as if you had chosen it yourself. The great philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who was heavily influenced by the Stoics, described his formula for greatness as amor fati. He wrote, "That one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity, not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it. This is the ultimate expression of control. You can't control the events themselves, but you can control your perception of them to such a degree that you welcome them. You trust that everything happening is part of a larger tapestry, a necessary piece of your journey. This isn't about passive resignation. It's an active, powerful embrace of reality. It frees you from the bitterness of what if and if only. It allows you to find joy and purpose, not in spite of your circumstances, but because of them. So whatever is happening in your life right now, good or bad, say to yourself, this is my path, this is my story, and I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. We've covered the first 6 rules of the Stoic path to freedom. We've talked about focusing on what you can control, practicing for hardship, remembering your mortality, choosing your company wisely, turning obstacles into opportunities, and loving your fate. These 6 principles alone, if practiced consistently, can radically transform your life from one of reaction to one of intention. But we're only halfway there. There are 6 more powerful rules to explore that will build on this foundation and help you forge an unshakable inner citadel. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you won't want to miss part 2, where we'll dive into the remaining rules that complete this ancient blueprint for a powerful and peaceful life. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's talk about the second rule. Don't be ruled by emotion. This is a game changer. So often we think our feelings define us. When we're angry, we become anger. When we're sad, we become sadness. But the Stoics saw it differently. Emotion is just energy. It's a wave passing through you. Anger, sadness, jealousy, fear, they're temporary visitors, not permanent residents. The Stoic doesn't get swept away by the tide. He stands on the shore and watches the waves crash, knowing they will eventually recede. The great Stoic philosopher Seneca hit the nail on the head when he said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Think about that. How many times have you worried about something that never even happened? How much energy have you wasted playing out worst-case scenarios in your mind? When you let your emotions take the driver's seat, you lose control. If you let anger lead, your actions become impulsive and predictable. Your enemies can easily provoke you. If you let fear lead, you hesitate, you shrink, you become weak and miss out on opportunities. And if you let pain lead, you grow bitter, resentful, and push people away. But here's the secret. When you can feel all of those things, the anger, the fear, the pain, and still choose to act with wisdom and clarity, that's where true power lies. This isn't about bottling up your emotions or pretending they don't exist. That's repression, and it's unhealthy. This is about discipline. It's about observing your emotions from a distance without letting them hijack your identity. You can feel the heat of anger rising, but you don't have to become the fire. Imagine this. Someone disrespects you. The immediate, instinctual reaction is to lash out, to defend your ego, to match their energy. But the Stoic approach is different. You pause. You take a breath. You watch your own internal fire before you decide to throw it. In that small pause, you reclaim your power. You shift from being reactive to being responsive. The person who can remain calm while chaos erupts around them is the one who ultimately controls the battlefield of life. The Stoic doesn't suppress emotion, he masters it. And sometimes, that mastery looks like a powerful, deliberate silence when everyone else is expecting an explosion of noise. It's about choosing your response, not just having a reaction. Now for the third rule, and this one goes against everything our modern world tells us. Seek discomfort, because it builds the soul. We live in an age that worships comfort. We want soft beds, easy jobs, instant gratification, and a life free from friction. We've built an entire society around avoiding hardship. But the Stoics taught the exact opposite. They believed that discomfort is a form of divine training. It's the gym for your spirit. Epictetus, a slave who became one of the most respected Stoic teachers, said, "Difficulties show what men are. It's not when things are easy that you discover your true character. It's when you're faced with challenges. Every hardship is a classroom. Every delay, every rejection, every heartbreak. It's not a punishment, it's a test of your inner strength, your resilience, your resolve. In those moments, you have a choice. You can complain, play the victim, and feel sorry for yourself. Or you can use it as an opportunity to condition yourself, to become stronger. When life is too easy, your soul gets lazy and soft. You don't grow. But when life pushes back, when it hits you hard, that's when you grow teeth. That's when you develop grit. So how do you apply this? Start small. Wake up a little earlier than you want to. Take a cold shower. Do the most difficult task on your to-do list first thing in the morning. Say no to that unnecessary pleasure, that extra slice of cake, or that hour of mindless scrolling. This isn't about self-punishment. It's about building discipline. And here's the paradox. Discipline is the ultimate freedom. Why? Because once you no longer need comfort to be okay, you can't be controlled by it. You are no longer a slave to your cravings or your desire for ease. The man who constantly seeks ease becomes weak, fragile, and dependent. But the man who actively seeks challenge, who leans into discomfort, he becomes unstoppable. He forges himself in the fires of adversity and comes out stronger on the other side. This brings us to our fourth rule, a principle that is so simple yet so incredibly powerful. Silence is power. In our noisy, hyper-connected world, the modern man often talks way too much. He feels the need to explain himself constantly, to defend his every action, to overshare his thoughts and feelings, to justify his existence. He broadcasts his every move on social media, seeking validation from strangers. The Stoic man, however, operates differently. He observes more than he speaks. He understands that silence isn't a sign of weakness or emptiness. It's a sign of precision and strength. It's the confidence of not needing to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to announce your goals, your plans, or your next move. You let your actions speak for you. Let the results create the echo. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote in his private journal, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." This is a profound piece of wisdom. So when someone insults you, what's the typical reaction? To insult them back. But what if you just smiled or said nothing at all? You've just refused to play their game. When they misunderstand you, you don't need to launch into a long-winded defense. Let them think what they will. Your character will reveal itself over time. When they underestimate you, don't correct them. Watch quietly from the sidelines and let your performance shock them. Silence disarms noise. It disrupts expectations. It makes you unpredictable, and in a world where everyone is broadcasting their every thought, unpredictability is a superpower. You stop being a reactive pawn and start becoming a strategic player. Your silence makes people wonder. It creates an aura of mystery and self-assurance, and that mystery is a form of power. Think about it. The loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest or the most influential. They're often the most insecure, seeking attention to validate themselves. The truly powerful person is the calm observer, the one who listens more than they speak. They're gathering information, assessing the situation, and thinking 3, 4, 5 moves ahead while everyone else is just making noise. Master your silence, and you'll find you have a greater command over yourself and your environment than you ever thought possible. So let's recap these powerful principles. First, we master our emotions, observing them without becoming them. We respond. We don't just react. Second, we embrace discomfort as our trainer, knowing that hardship is what forges true strength and resilience. And third, we wield silence as a tool of power, letting our actions speak louder than our words and maintaining an air of mystery and strategic calm. These aren't just ancient ideas. They are practical tools for navigating the chaos of modern life with strength, purpose, and inner peace. Thank you so much for watching. If these ideas resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content on building a stronger mind and a more meaningful life. See you in the next one. Have you ever been stabbed in the back by someone you trusted? It's a gut-wrenching feeling, isn't it? The shock, the anger, the confusion. It can leave you feeling broken, wondering what you did wrong. But what if I told you that the ancient Stoics had a rule for this exact scenario? A rule that doesn't just help you survive betrayal, but actually makes you stronger. This is the fifth rule of the Stoic iron mindset. Expect betrayal, but don't become bitter. Now, hold on. I know what you might be thinking. Isn't that incredibly pessimistic? Not at all. It's about emotional realism. It's about preparation. The great Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, 'Today I shall meet with meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful men.'" He wasn't trying to ruin his own day. He was preparing his mind for the reality of human nature. See, You don't get betrayed because you're a bad person or because you did something to deserve it. You get betrayed because people are, well, human. And humans are complex creatures, often driven by their own insecurities, fears, envy, and weaknesses. It's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their inner struggles. Someone might betray you because they're afraid of losing their position, or they're envious of your success, or they're simply too weak to do the right thing. It's rarely about you. But here's the crucial part of the rule. Don't let their actions corrupt you. Don't let their poison seep into your soul and turn you bitter. Bitterness is a cage you build for yourself. It keeps you locked in the past, replaying the hurt over and over again. Instead, let betrayal sharpen you. Let it be a lesson in discernment. Let it teach you to be more careful about who you let into your inner circle. This is where forgiveness comes in, but maybe not in the way you've always heard it. Stoic forgiveness isn't about telling the other person it's okay. It's not about forgetting what they did. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional debt they owe you. Because as long as you're holding on to that anger and resentment, they are living rent-free in your head. You're giving them power over your present and your future. Forgiving is cutting the chain. It's taking back control of your own mind. So, when betrayal happens, what's the Stoic response? You don't rage. You don't seek petty revenge. You become calm. You become colder in the sense that you are less emotionally reactive and more objective. You become wiser. You analyze what happened, learn the lesson, adjust your strategy for the future, and then you move forward, unbroken. You refuse to let someone else's weakness define your strength. Now let's move on to the sixth rule, which is just as powerful and counterintuitive. It's called practice voluntary hardship. This is where you intentionally choose to struggle, even when you don't have to. Sleep on the floor for a night instead of your comfortable bed. Skip a meal and fast for a day. Take a cold shower. Walk a long distance instead of driving your car. Why on earth would anyone do this? It sounds like self-punishment, right? But it's actually one of the most effective ways to build mental toughness. The Stoic philosopher Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, knew the dangers of a comfortable life. He understood that luxury, when unchecked, breeds weakness. It makes you soft. You become so dependent on your comforts that you panic at the slightest inconvenience. Your hot water heater breaks? It's the end of the world. Your favorite coffee shop is closed. Your whole day is ruined. Seneca's solution was to periodically step away from that comfort. He famously said, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest fare and roughest clothing, and say to yourself, 'Is this the condition I feared?'" What you discover when you do this is profound. You realize that you can handle it. You realize that the things you thought you needed are actually just wants. Sleeping on the floor for a night is uncomfortable, sure, but you survive. Fasting for a day makes you hungry, but you don't waste away. A cold shower is a shock to the system, but afterward you feel incredibly alive and energized. By practicing discomfort voluntarily, you vaccinate yourself against panic when real adversity strikes. You're no longer afraid of losing your comforts because you've proven to yourself that you do not need them to function. You've expanded your comfort zone by stepping outside of it on your own terms. When a real crisis hits, maybe you lose your job, face a health issue, or encounter a major setback, your mind doesn't collapse in fear. Instead, a calm voice inside says, "I've trained for this. I can handle this." This isn't about being a masochist. It's about being a warrior. A warrior trains before the battle, not during it. You lift weights to build muscle before you need to lift something heavy. You practice voluntary hardship to build resilience before life throws its inevitable challenges at you. This is the very essence of building your inner armor. It's about preparedness. It's about forging a mind that is adaptable, resilient, and unbreakable, no matter what life throws its way. So, the next time you face betrayal, remember to learn, forgive for your own sake, and move on, wiser and stronger. And every now and then, choose the harder path. Choose a little discomfort. You're not just making yourself uncomfortable, You're building a version of yourself that is immune to fear and ready for anything. Thank you for watching. If these ideas resonated with you, hit that subscribe button for more lessons on building an unbreakable mind. I'll see you in the next video. Let's talk about rule number 7. Stop seeking validation. This is a big one. Think about it. The greatest prison in the world is the one we build ourselves, brick by brick, from other people's opinions. So many of us live our lives like actors on a stage. We're performing, we're people-pleasing, we're pretending. Every single move we make gets filtered through that one nagging question. What will people think of me? It's exhausting. But the Stoics, those ancient masters of the mind, they taught us to detach from the need for approval. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, a true Stoic, put it perfectly. He said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Isn't that a strange paradox? We live for the applause from an audience that most of the time isn't even clapping for themselves. The moment you stop chasing that validation, you stop hemorrhaging self-respect. You begin to act from your own core principles, not for popularity points. You start doing what you know is right, not just what's well-liked. You speak your truth, even if your voice shakes a little while you do it. You learn to walk your own path, even if it means walking alone for a while. And a funny thing happens when you stop begging for recognition. Life itself starts to recognize you. Real power respects silence, and that kind of profound silence only follows those who no longer need the noise of outside approval to feel whole. You find your center, your own internal compass, and that becomes your guide. Now, on to rule number 8, accept death and live fully. This might sound a bit dark at first, but stick with me. Every single Stoic philosopher faced one undeniable truth without fear. We are all dying. It's the one certainty we all share. Most people spend their entire lives running away from this thought. But the Stoic? The Stoic runs toward it. The philosopher Epictetus said, "I cannot escape death, but at least I can escape the fear of it." That shift in perspective is everything. When you truly internalize that your time here is limited, you stop wasting it. You stop getting tangled up in meaningless drama and petty arguments about things that won't matter in a year, a month, or even a week. You stop putting your dreams on the back burner for someday. Try this. Every morning, just for a moment, remind yourself, you could leave this life at any moment. Let that single thought shape what you do today, what you say, and what you prioritize. This awareness of death isn't morbid. It's the ultimate motivator. It fills you with gratitude for the present moment. It brings laser-like focus to what truly matters. It makes you courageous. The person who accepts mortality doesn't cling desperately to life. They choose how to live it. They choose to live deliberately, not just drift along passively. They choose to love deeply, without fear holding them back. They choose to act with honor and integrity, without hesitation. So, to remember that you will die is the most powerful reminder to truly live. Finally, let's cover rule number 9. Choose your company wisely. This is crucial. Stoicism isn't just about mastering your own mind in isolation. It's also about having discipline over your environment. The great Stoic writer Seneca gave a stark warning. He said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Your circle, the people you spend the most time with, fundamentally shapes your spirit. You simply cannot build a strong Stoic life if you're surrounded by chaos, negativity, and undisciplined minds." Think of it this way. Every conversation you have plants a seed in your mind. Some people plant seeds of wisdom, growth, and strength. Others plant weeds, gossip, doubt, and mediocrity. So you have to choose your company with the same care and precision you'd use to choose your food. Surround yourself with people who speak truth, even when it's uncomfortable, not just those who offer empty comfort. Keep people around who challenge your laziness, not enable it. Find friends who sharpen your mind like iron sharpens iron. Walk with men and women who value silence, discipline, and self-respect. Why? Because energy is contagious. It's that simple. If you want to cultivate peace in your life, you need to walk with peaceful people. If you want to become stronger, you need to walk with the strong. And if you want wisdom, you must walk with the wise. In the end, your tribe is your mirror. Make sure you're building one that reflects the person you truly want to become. Thank you for watching. If these ideas resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content on building a stronger, more meaningful life. See you in the next one. Rule number 10. Let go of what you can't keep. This one is tough, but it's crucial. Attachment is just suffering pretending to be love. The ancient Stoics knew that everything we possess, even our own lives, is merely on loan from the universe. The great emperor Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly: receive without pride, let go without attachment. A true Stoic doesn't cling desperately to things, to people, or to specific outcomes. He appreciates them while they're here, but his well-being doesn't depend on them. If your partner decides to leave, you let them go. If your wealth vanishes, you find a way to rebuild. When one chapter of your life closes, you turn the page with grace, not regret. Why? Because clinging only hurts you. The tighter you squeeze, the more you lose pieces of yourself in the process. You can't control permanence. Nothing lasts forever. But what you can control is your presence. Be fully engaged and appreciate every moment while it lasts. And when it's time for it to end, be fully free. This isn't about being indifferent or cold. It's about finding freedom through acceptance. The person who can accept loss with a calm mind is truly untouchable. Rule number 11. Speak less. Observe more. Think of your words like money. The more you spend, the less valuable they become. We live in an incredibly noisy world, and in this chaos, silence and restraint are your secret weapons. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." It's a simple but profound idea. When you hold back from speaking, you start to see so much more. You can read people's true intentions. You can sense their insecurities and weaknesses. You begin to understand the hidden patterns in conversations and behaviors. A Stoic doesn't jump into every conversation or rush to give their opinion. They wait, they listen, and they search for the truth hidden beneath all the surface-level noise. Before you get into an argument, just pause for a second. Before you react emotionally, take a moment to think. Before you make a promise, carefully measure your words. You'll quickly discover that the person who truly listens holds the real power in any room. Why? Because information, truth, and insight naturally flow towards silence. Master the art of observation, and people will start revealing themselves to you without you even having to ask. You'll see who's genuine, who's loyal, and who's just putting on a show. And now, for the most important rule of all. Rule number 12. Live according to nature, with virtue as your compass. This is the absolute heart of Stoicism. When the Stoics talked about nature, they weren't just talking about trees and mountains. They meant the natural order of the universe, the fundamental truths of existence. True peace comes from aligning yourself with this reality. You can't control what other people do, but you can always control your own mind. You can't stop the storms of life from coming, but you can decide how you'll face them. You can't change your ultimate fate, but you can choose to respond to it with honor and dignity. To do this, the Stoics focused on 4 cardinal virtues. First, wisdom, knowing the right thing to do. Second, courage, having the strength to do it, especially when you're afraid. Third, temperance, maintaining balance and self-control. And fourth, justice, doing what is right for others and for yourself, not just what is easy. When you build your life on these 4 pillars, you stop needing validation from others. You become self-sufficient, a fortress of your own making. The Stoic individual doesn't chase after greatness. They embody it through their actions. They don't talk about being a good person. They practice it, quietly and consistently. Their reward isn't fame or applause. It's the deep, unshakable calm in their soul, the discipline reflected in their actions, and the genuine respect they earn without ever having to ask for it. So let's bring it all together. Here's the final message, the Stoic way. Life is not going to get easier. That's a hard truth. People will still lie, they will still betray you, and they will still misunderstand you. Pain, loss, and hardship will still show up at your door uninvited. But the Stoic doesn't waste time praying for an easier life. Instead, he prays for the strength to endure a difficult one. He builds his inner self like a fortress, one brick at a time, one discipline at a time. So when chaos inevitably arrives, he doesn't panic. He doesn't crumble. He takes a deep breath and quietly says to himself, "This is what I trained for." That is the essence of Stoicism. It's not about being cold or emotionless. It's about being composed and emotionally intelligent. It's not weakness disguised as peace. It is profound strength disguised as calm. When you live by these 12 rules, you stop being a victim of life's circumstances. You become a student of life, learning and growing from every challenge. So, remember the path. Control what you can. Master your emotions. Seek out discomfort to grow stronger. Embrace the power of silence. Prepare for betrayal so it doesn't break you. Practice hardship voluntarily. Stop looking for external validation. Accept mortality with grace. Choose your company wisely. Let go of what you cannot keep. Speak less and observe more. And above all, live with virtue. This is how you build a life that cannot be shaken. This is the Stoic path. It's not a path of perfection, but it is a path of true, unshakable power. When you rise above your impulses, when you choose calm over chaos, when you act with honor even when it's the hardest thing to do, you're not just practicing Stoicism. You're mastering yourself. And that, my friend, is the highest form of power. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more insights on building a stronger, more resilient life.